Let's face it, one of the biggest challenges to creating a financially free life you love is motivation, right? I mean, there are all times when we are not motivated, and I love today's question. How can you stay motivated when you don't feel motivated? And I think it's something that a lot of times we either don't talk about or we think there's something wrong with us because we're not motivated and other people are. But there are a lot of things that happen that go into motivation, and we're going to dive into those today. You know, sometimes it's the fact that we get news we don't want, or something happens, we feel depressed, and it can send us into a spiral. And what we do, especially if we're not conscious or we're coming from our limbic brain, is we go to our comfort. And it may be eating junk food, or for me it'd be like dark chocolate and almonds, or overspending, or drinking, or drugs, or I mean the laundry list goes on, and it's not ideal, right? Today I'm going to share with you what you can do to get in the driver's seat of your business and your life, and to stay motivated so that you can do what you need to do so you can ultimately live a richer and a happier life and create a financially free life you love. So let's dive in. So hi and welcome. I'm Annette Bau, host of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I've been advising and researching the top 1% and 2% of millionaires to learn what millionaires with amazing lives do differently. And now I'm providing you practical, easy to implement insights so you can create a financially free life you love. So let's dive in on how to stay motivated. So before we begin, please click subscribe and ring the bell. The materials and intellectual property are copywritten by themillionaireseries.com. We are not providing you any advice relating to financial or healthcare or anything else. If you need support for your unique situation, you need to go hire an advisor. You agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. And for today's show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/1011. For all show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/WLI. So the first thing you got to do to stay motivated is you got to set your goals. To achieve anything and stay motivated during that process, you've got to know what it is you want. And that's where your goals come in. You know, a lot of success is boring and mundane. A lot of becoming financially free is boring and mundane. A lot of weighing your ideal weight is boring and mundane. And no one tells you that, right? All we do is we see the headlines or we see the stories, and it's like life is so exciting, and when you have money and you weigh your ideal weight, it's just everything is just amazing. No one tells you about watching what you eat. No one tells you about having to save money, being able to say yes to some things and no to others. That's what I'm talking about. And the first step is to get really clear on what you want and then set your goals. And you want to set them in I am or I active verb. Now begin with your top 3 personal and professional goals and then prioritize those. So if it's to be a millionaire, the first one would be I am a millionaire, or my spouse and partner, their name, and I are millionaires. Or my spouse, partner, and I accumulate $1 million. I am or I active verb, and then prioritize it. So today's show is sponsored by our very own Mindset Mastery. You can go to millionaireseries.com/mindset mastery. But this is one thing I want to share with you. I'm talking about motivation. I don't care if I'm talking about motivation, if I'm talking about money, if I'm talking about your diet plan, losing weight, whatever it is. You will never achieve your goal if you don't master your mindset. So much of success is between our ears, and we've got to first of all learn, how do you master your mindset? How do you get in the driver's seat of your life so you can achieve what you want to? And it all starts with your mindset. So you can go to millionaireseries.com/mindset mastery. You're going to love that training. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. I would have paid so much money to access that early in my career. It took me years to figure it out. All right, the next thing you got to do is you got to choose. You've got to choose one professional goal and one personal goal. When you feel unmotivated, you've got to then look at what those are. Because see, this is what happens, is you're not motivated, and oftentimes you're not motivated because you forget what you're even motivated about. Review those goals and identify, are those still the right ones? And I'm just talking one business, one personal. And if you don't want to do that, let's say you don't have a business or you're not motivated from your business, then set one personal goal. But I want you to focus in on one business, one personal ideal, or just one. once you're clear on that, because see, this is where a lot of people get stuck, is they set a goal and then they get unmotivated and then they forget what they even set. That tells me that's not really your goal. Because when you really have a goal that you aspire to achieve, you can't stop thinking about it. Your entire passion is into it. And an example might be animals. I'm always fascinated by people online who are passionate about animals. And I can remember very clearly, and you probably can too, when that dentist went and killed some animal over in Africa. He was trophy hunting. And he had to move, like literally was getting death threats. And I was reading a couple articles and they said people are more enraged and will go to an extreme to attack the person if they've harmed an animal, even over a child. And I was thinking like, oh my gosh, but it's because they're so passionate about it. So, not a judgment call, not a right or wrong, but you got to figure out where you've got that passion, right? And then all I want you to do, if you're really clear on that and you know what you want to do, let's say it's achieve financial freedom, all I want you to do is identify one thing you can take action on right now. Just one thing. Not 100 things, one thing. What is one thing I can do right now to move the bar forward? It might be go and get my change and put it in my bin. That is where I'm saving my money each month. One thing. That's all I want you to do. One thing. It's amazing. When you do one thing, the next thing becomes a lot easier. But just focus on one thing you can do to move the bar forward. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is minimalization. So whether it's essentialism or becoming a minimalist, both are super powerful because less is more. And the goal is really to simplify our life. Oftentimes we lose motivation because we have too much to do. You know, when you look at your to-do list and it's as big as Mount Everest, it's overwhelming. And I even have to watch that myself. You have so many things and you're like, wait a minute, I've got to remove some things in my life, because what happens is when you look at your list and you have all these things to do and you're like, is that moving the needle forward, yes or no? And I'm going to give you an example. We've had a lot of programs that have been very successful, and I work a lot with advisors. And what I've come to realize over the last little while is there are certain advisors I love serving, specifically ones that are really, truly advisors and really want to help people. So what I've realized is that there are other products that I have, like say for instance, how to better sell. I don't want to teach anyone that's not truly got the client's interest at heart how to sell more, like how to sell more insurance, how to sell more products. I want somebody who's really concerned about helping somebody solve their issues. And what I realized is I might be good at that. I might be able to do that. I don't want to do that. That's not how I live. It's not what I've done to be successful. And so that was a real easy one for me to say, gone. I have people requesting that product, no longer available. And that's what I want you to do. Get really clear and remove all the other stuff. All right, you've now set your goal. Now I want you to share it. One of the most powerful things you can do with your big, hairy, audacious goal is to share it, and ideally in a public setting. Now, that can be a little bit more dangerous, but ideally you're sharing it with people who are really on board and supportive of you. If you find that you have a lot of people in your close circle that aren't, meaning you say, I want to be financially free, and everyone's like laughing at you or ridiculing you or going, give me a break, maybe you need to expand that network, right? We want people who are going where we're going. And one thing you're going to find on your journey to becoming really successful is that not everyone's going to go with you. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. As long as you are surrounded by people who really care about you, share your values and your morals, and ideally they're really supportive of you, then it's great. And if not, maybe some of those people need to go, and you can replace those slots with people who really are supportive. Because let's face it, as you become more and more successful, your group of close contacts narrows, because what happens is you just don't have the time to have this huge network. Now, it's not that you can't be connected, but I'm talking about those core people that really value you, really love you, really care about you, and really have your back. Those are the people that you want to focus in on, and those are the people that are going to be supportive of your goal. The next thing we're going to dive into is inspiration. So when we feel overwhelmed, what's happening in our brain is our limbic brain, that primal brain that's 2 million years old, is on fire. And what happens is, it's kind of like it's there to protect you, it's there to conserve calories, it's going off. And what's really interesting, and seems counterintuitive a lot of times until a person understands this, is the solution is to quiet down. And that's why I teach you the focused breathing. Breathing into the count of 8, holding it for 8, and then releasing for 10. Is because we've got to really master that focused breathing because it allows us to quiet down. And ideally what we want to do is get really comfortable being in that quiet space, because that quiet space is where you can really connect with, your divine power, God, Jesus, whatever your beliefs are, but with something that can really pull you through the challenging times. And what I find is when a person can't get quiet, it's very difficult for them to ever achieve peace of mind. And so we're talking about motivation today, but really there's nothing fun about living a life where you lack peace of mind. And in fact, in my opinion, peace of mind is the most critical. Yes, money's important, but without peace of mind, what good is it? So we've got to ideally have a combination of both. But sometimes when you quiet down, what you're going to find is that voice is telling you, you need to rejuvenate, you need to slow down. And again, you might say, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do that. But what happens is that allows us to get more inspired and more motivated. Now, for some of us, we need to push the pedal down and get going, and other of us need to listen to that. So we got to know where we are. Now, the other thing that we want to do is we want to know what allows us to get into that space where we feel calm. Like for me, I love hiking. So when it's in Arizona, I live in Phoenix most of the time, and most of the year when it's not 120, it's great to go hiking. In the mountains where I live in the summer, it's ideal because it's perfect. And so I find that when I'm out in nature and I'm able to just get really quiet and really calm, it's just amazing what happens. I just feel calm. For others, it might be going for a run. It might be watching a beautiful sunset. It's not a right or wrong. It's just what puts you into that space where you can think clearly. You've got to make sure you're getting quiet, but you also need to make sure what inspires and motivates you, because that, my friends, is a game changer. All right, start small. Just start small and simple. One thing you can do right now to move the needle forward. Review your goal and just determine what is one thing. And then what is the next thing? It's so easy to lose motivation when we have so many things to do and we start thinking about them and we haven't even begun and we're already talked ourselves out of it. It's amazing to me how many people get so overwhelmed that they don't even start. Like, oh my gosh, becoming a multimillionaire is just impossible. It's like, well, yeah, if you think of it like that, it is. But if you start saying, saving $25 a month, I can do that. That's where I started. I had no money. Started saving $25 a month. And then I started saving $50 a month. And then I started saving $100 a month. It's amazing what happens when we get clear on that. So let me give you an example. If your goal is to create a financially free life you love, and you say, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. I mean, there's just no way I could ever become financially free. Just stop all that. Start saving your change. Put it into a bin that you're going to be putting into your investment account every month. Just your change. Once you master that, then start with your $1 bills. Once you master that, start with your $5 bills. But just start. And you'll find that then the next step is easier and easier. If your goal is to lose weight, start eating dinner by 6 and then don't eat again until you wake up. And then make it an hour after you wake up, and then 2 hours, and then ultimately maybe you're going to fast until 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. That's called intermittent fasting. Initially it can be challenging, but once you get used to it, you feel so great, you're like, oh, I can do this. So let's look at some tips for being motivated. First of all, you got to get really clear on what you want. And then when you get unmotivated, just focus on one thing you can do. Determine what inspires and motivates you so that you can get back on track. I find that when I get really quiet and I'm able to just turn off the noise out there, I can get really clear, and then I get that inspiration and motivation. Sometimes it's because we need rest and relaxation. For some of us that go, 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 we've got busy lives, we've got families, everything that's going on, we've got to learn how to slow down a little bit, and that's not a bad thing. Look at what you can eliminate. As I shared with you, you have something that you have no passion for. I don't care if somebody wants to learn how to better sell a product and they're not concerned about really helping somebody. I don't want to deal with them. The vast majority of people that do what I do in the advisor space, all they're doing is focusing in on teaching people how to sell more and how to just get more clients, more appointments, more clients. And it's like, that to me just makes me like ill, because that's not the goal of a good financial advisor. A good financial advisor really truly is concerned about the client and wants to move the needle forward. And when you get clear on that, you become a lot more inspired and motivated to do what you need to do. as compared to when you're helping somebody be successful and it's not aligning with your values or your integrity. So just be really clear on that because it's a game changer. If you want to learn more about how to create a wealthy life, meaning a richer life that you love, you can go to millionaireseries.com/WL guide. This is our wealthy life guide. And what it does is it teaches you the 3-step formula on how to make it possible. How do you get started and what do you need to do to create a life you love, and specifically a financially free life you love. So again, millionaireseries.com/WL guide. For today's show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/1011. For all show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/WLI. So I want to thank you so much for how to stay motivated. I'm Annette Bau, host of the Millionaire Insider. All international copyrights are reserved. Now, my friends, it wasn't that hard. And I know sometimes we're not motivated, and sometimes we can even be going through bouts of depression. And if you need professional help, you need to go get it. I think that's really, really important, and not be embarrassed by it. That said, what I also want you to get really clear on is sometimes if you're feeling off, I want you to start even looking at what you're eating. Are you eating a really clean diet? There have been study after study that shows if you're eating excess sugar, it can cause depression. Now, if you want to eliminate or reduce your sugar, watch your salt intake. It's a yin-yang thing. So again, be really aware of that. Now, before you go, I encourage you to click the link above. We have specifically chosen that training to help you on the next step. So I look forward to seeing you on that training, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye for now.